Ksuvas Daf Vav. Although a brisa was brought previously prohibiting the first cohabitation on Leil Shabbos, the upcoming sugya debates this law. Rashi explains that the Amoraim brought here either did not know the brisa or were unsure if it is the halacha. However, the argument to permit the first cohabitation is difficult to understand since it causes a chabura on Shabbos, which is a told of shchita. The inquiry of the Gemara is as follows. Bleeding caused by rupturing the hymen, is it releasing stored blood as one who empties a container of its contents? Or is it absorbed blood released by the vaginal walls tearing? If it is stored blood, he is permitted to cohabit so long as his intention is not to create an opening to facilitate future cohabitation, prohibited as building, but only to release the blood to know she is a virgin. And the halacha follows Rabbi Shimon that the malacha is unintended, and if it's not an inevitable result, it is permissible. However, if the halacha follows Rabbi Yehuda, that a davar she'eino miskavin is asur, then it would be prohibited unless it is mekalkel. The loss of her virginity is destructive, not constructive. Although generally destructive acts are forbidden in the Rabbanan, the first cohabitation is permissible because the groom's intent is only to know she is a virgin. The second version presented in the Gemara states that even if the blood is absorbed in the walls of the vagina and the release results in a wound, it is permissible because his whole intent in releasing the blood is to know that she is a virgin unless the halacha follows Rabbi Yehuda. However, if losing her virginity is destructive, even according to Rabbi Yehuda, it should be permitted unless we combine his opinion with Rabbi Shimon's, who holds Hamakalkel b'Shabbos asur, a destructive act on Shabbos is prohibited. With Rabbi Yehuda's opinion, the one is liable for an unintended result. The Academy of Rav claimed Rav permitted it on Shabbos and Shmuel prohibited it. The Academy of Shmuel claimed the opposite. Shmuel permitted it and Rav prohibited it. Question: how could Rav adopt the lenient opinion? He did not permit on Shabbos inserting a rag in a beer barrel as a stopper, either because of schita or because of dash. Apparently, Rav holds, like Rabbi Yehuda, that one is liable even for an unintended result. Therefore, he should prohibit cohabitation because it results in an unintended wound. The answer: even Rabbi Shimon agrees one is liable for an unintended, inevitable result. The Gemara concludes that even if Rav holds like Rabbi Yehuda, he would rule leniently concerning cohabitation according to both versions presented in the Gemara. According to the first version, the blood is stored in her vagina and its release does not constitute making a wound. The opening is destructive because she lost her virginity. According to the second version, the blood is absorbed and its release results in a wound. Since it is destructive and unintentional, it is permitted. However, Shmuel forbids this. Question: a Mishnah Maseches Nidas discusses how the amount of time a groom can cohabit with his bride. Assume her bleeding is from the wound and not menstrual blood. It distinguishes between girls who have not reached puberty, but as of yet did not get their periods, and those that did get their periods. Concerning those that did not reach puberty, Beis Shammai held they can cohabit for 4 nights. Beis Hillel holds until the wound heals. If she reached puberty, Beis Shammai held they can cohabit the first night even many times. Beis Hillel held 4 nights until Motzei Shabbos. Chisda understands it is permissible as long as the groom's cohabitation did not penetrate fully. The presence of any hymen indicates the blood is from the womb. Question: it is apparent that according to Beis Hillel, the groom can attempt to consummate Leil Shabbos. How can Shmuel, who forbids this, dispute Beis Hillel? The answer: Rav understands that Beis Hillel holds the groom consummated already the first night, compares this to a pirza dechuka, shemutali kanes ba. According to Shmuel, one is permitted to enter a narrow doorway. He may enlarge by knocking out pebbles because he holds like Reb Shimon that an unintentional, not inevitable act is permitted on Shabbos. Similarly, the groom, once he consummated fully, can continue cohabiting even though it may aggravate the wound, causing it to bleed. Question: the Mishnah Maseches Barachos states the groom has not yet consummated is exempt from reciting the Shema until Motzei Shabbos. Apparently, he is exempt the first 4 nights, including Leil Shabbos, because he is Torah B'tir the Shel Mitzvah. He is focused on consummating his cohabitation and cannot properly concentrate on reciting the Shema. Apparently, this Mishnah that permits the first cohabitation on Shabbos disputes Shmuel. Answer. Abaya explains that Leil Shabbos is different than any other night. He is exempt from reciting the Shema because he is burdened with the thought of not having consummated the previous nights, because he is prohibited to cohabit with her on Shabbos according to Shmuel. Question. Is his preoccupation sufficient reason to exempt him from reciting the Shema? A mourner preoccupied with his sorrow is obligated to fulfill all the mitzvahs except tefillin. Similarly, a groom burdened with the thought of not consummating previous nights must fulfill all the mitzvahs unless he is preoccupied with the mitzvah he is about to perform. Therefore, the Mishnah and Brachos that exempts him must permit cohabitation on Shabbos. The answer. Rava explains that Shmuel relies on another brisa to prohibit cohabitation Leil Shabbos. However, Abaya disagrees. He differentiates between cohabitation and mourning. Although mourning is a mitzvah, its purpose is to honor the nifter, not to feel sorrow. Therefore, his sorrow does not exempt him from reciting the Shema. However, a groom burdened by not consummating previous nights is a tirta mitzvah and is exempt from reciting the Shema Leil Shabbos, even though he cannot cohabit with his bride.